Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the vineyard. Every day, Yahuah is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to his righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of his law. Join us as we seek to be refined by his word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in his way, truth, and life. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube Torah portion live streams. This is a whole new cycle, if you will. And we're starting all over from the beginning. It was great to finish up a few weeks ago in Deuteronomy, and here we are back at it again in the beginning of Genesis. And I have to say, this is probably my favorite portion, as we'll see. Quite a bit through tonight. So this Torah portion goes through Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 6, verse 8. And it's kind of unfair because there's so much to go over. It'd probably work out to be like a 4-hour Torah portion. And so like we did last year, I broke it up in half, and we're going to go tonight. We're going to go through chapter 3, and probably Monday night we'll get back together at maybe 8:30, and we'll finish up. We'll do chapter 4, 5, and chapter 6, verses 1 through 8, and so much to go over. It's unbelievable. So, and part of this portion is obviously the creation story, the first Shabbat, the fall of man, lineages, watchers, giants, and a lot more. Cain and Abel. There's just so much to talk about. So we're going to be reading from the Sefer, and actually maybe a special treat. A lot of you know about what's called the Word audio project we're doing. We're doing a full studio quality dramatized reading of the Sefer, and we have Genesis almost ready. So we'll be able to incorporate that into our study. So what I'm going to do is I'll play the whole chapter, and then we'll go back and kind of dissect it line by line, and we'll do that for all the chapters going forward. I will say this year, I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to the Septuagint as we go through, because some of you joined us. We did a full Torah reading during Sukkot, and saw a lot of things in there I had never seen before. So it's like a whole nother treasure chest going through the Septuagint, so we'll be cross-referencing that a lot more. So let's start off with prayer, and we'll get right to it. So Heavenly Father, Yahuah Most High, we just come before you again in Yahusha's name, and we thank you first and foremost for sending your word that we may be reconciled to you. And we truly believe that he offered himself up for us to be reconciled back to you. And we thank you, of course, for opening our eyes and ears in these last days, and that you are allowing us to behold the wondrous things out of your Torah. And we just pray that you continuously refine us, prune us, sharpen us, water us, and give us understanding and cultivation, that we may walk rightly before you. And that is our heart's desire. We want to please you, we fear you, we love you, and we want to honor you, and we want to be a sweet savor before you. And we love you, Abba, in Yahusha's mighty name. Amen and amen. Praise be to Yah. He is the one that gives wisdom, brothers and sisters, and let us magnify and glorify his Kodesh name. So let's get into it. Let me pull up the... here we go. We'll be following... Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Bereshiyth, Genesis, chapter 1. You make one... one little side note. These are not, what I'm showing you now, just to preface it, are not fully edited yet. There's still some equalizer and some balancing to do. So you'll notice the very first chapter, it's got way too much treble. Anyways, this isn't the full studio production yet. This is kind of like a rough edition, but it's kind of fun that we can incorporate this into anyway. So here we go.
Bereshiyth, Genesis, chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Ruach Elohim moved upon the face of the waters, and Elohim said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And Elohim saw the light that it was good, and Elohim divided the light from the darkness, and Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. And Elohim said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And Elohim made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And Elohim said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And Elohim said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for appointed feasts, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And Elohim said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." And Elohim created great sea monsters, every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind." And it was so. And Elohim made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the earth after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth." And Elohim said, "Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food, and to every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth wherein there is life. I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Wow. So that was the creation account, and it's just, it's just absolutely amazing. And there's so much more to Torah than just thou shalt do and thou shalt not do. Like, this is Torah. And, for a lot of you, understanding the difference of how the scriptures describe the earth, the shape, whether it moves or doesn't move, whether it's in a solar system or whether it's brought forth out of waters. It was a big reason why you actually came back to him and back to his truth. And praise Yah for opening up those kinds of understandings in these last days. But this is Torah, and this is a big part of what I want to talk about tonight, is that we sometimes maybe even just take it for granted, like who we actually serve. We serve the Elohim that did everything we just read, that we just listened to right now. And it's beyond me to even imagine his wisdom and his understanding and his power and his majesty and able to do these kind of things. I don't know. It's so amazing. So let's go over. I want to go over a couple things that pertain to the creation account. It's pretty interesting. Some other sources. So this is 2 Esdras 6:1-6. And this talks about just kind of before the world was made. And he said unto me, at the beginning of the circle of the earth, and there's more evidence there for you, before the portals of the world were in place, and before the assembled winds blew, and before the rumblings of thunder sounded, and before the flashes of lightning shone, and before the foundations of paradise were laid, and before the beautiful flowers were seen, and before the powers of movement were established, and before the innumerable hosts of angels were gathered together, and before the heights of the air were lifted up, and before the measures of the firmaments were named, and before the footstool of Zion was established, and before the present years were reckoned, and before the imaginations of those who now sin were estranged, and before those who stored up treasures of faith were sealed, then I planned these things, and they were made through me, and not through another. Just as the end shall come through me, and not through another. And just to think that, he's just the most amazing artist. Even just looking at the birds and the different patterns they have and the colors and their vibrance and their chirps, and think about how a seed works. Literally a seed is like dead. It doesn't breathe. It's just dead. But you plant it in the ground, and with the soil and with the water and with the darkness, it sprouts up, and it's just unbelievable. And it brings forth, when Messiah taught about the parable of the mustard seed, and it's the smallest of all, and it becomes one of the greatest plants. And it's just how much more, even so, man who he has created, who is also, seed bearing, just like the tomato plant that bears its fruit, and within the tomato has its seed, so is man has seed, and just like the beast of the field. And it's just so amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's take a look at a couple of other creation accounts, and then we'll kind of go over some highlights of the creation accounts. So a little further in chapter 6, verse 38-54, and I said, O Yahuwah, thou didst speak at the beginning of creation, and thou didst say on the first day, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word accomplished the work. So here Ezra is acknowledging that it was the word of Yahuwah that did these things. It's all glory goes back to the Father, but the Father sent forth his Son to go and create all these things. So, and thy word accomplished the work. And then the Spirit was hovering, and darkness and silence embraced everything. The sound of man's voice was not yet there. Then thou didst command that a ray of light be brought forth from thy treasuries, so that thy works might then appear. And again, on the second day, thou didst create the spirit of the firmament, and didst command him to divide and separate the waters, that one part might move upward and the other part remain beneath. On the third day thou didst command the waters to be gathered together in the seventh part of the earth. 6 parts thou didst dry up and keep, so that some of them might be planted and cultivated and be of service before you. For thy word went forth, and at once the work was done. For immediately fruit came forth in an endless abundance and a varied appeal to the taste, which for some of you foodies out there, I mean, I guess we're all foodies in a way. I guess everybody kind of enjoys food. You know, people are like, oh yeah, I'm a foodie. You know, I guess we're all foodies. I mean, like just the very, like he says right here, the varied appeal to taste. I mean, there's different tastes for different people, and it's just amazing to meet a diverse amount of people that, you know, some people like certain flavors, some don't. You know, I love spicy food. I love like the crazy spicy food, like habanero peppers and ghost peppers and stuff. I think it is just amazing how that works. You know, and some people can't stand spicy food, and some people, you know, love like the flavor of curry, and some can't stand. It's just amazing what he has made. So, and varied appeal to the taste, and flowers of an inimitable color, and odors of an inexpressible fragrance. I mean, think about some of the things in creation. And if this sounds kind of sappy to you, oh yeah, here's Adam talking about flowers. This is Torah. This is Torah. This is what we need to understand. This is probably one of the most important parts of Torah that we can understand right now, especially in this world filled with lies about stealing the glory of what Elohim has created for us, you know? So we need to stand for this and stand for the truth of who made the diverse flowers of the field, and who made the corn stalks, and who made the birds, and who made the bees. These were made on the third day. On the fourth day thou didst command the brightness of the sun, and the light of the moon, which, by the way, I mean, that just kind of destroys what science teaches. Science teaches that, you know, the moon just reflects the sunlight, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's all throughout scriptures that the moon gives her own light. That's why, you know, on a sunny day, on certain phases of the moon, where the moon, like the sun's over here and the moon's over here, you can see both of them. It's just, you know, anyways. So the moon gives her own light, right? And the arrangement of the stars to come into being, and thou didst command them to serve man, who was about to be formed. On the fifth day thou didst command the seventh part, where the water had been gathered together to bring forth living creatures, birds and fishes, and so it was done. The dumb and lifeless water produced living creatures, as it was commanded, that therefore the nations might declare thy wondrous works. This is part of what we're supposed to do. Then thou didst keep in existence 2 living creatures, the name of the one thou didst call Behemoth, and the name of the other Leviathan. And thou didst separate one from the other. For the seventh part, where the water had been gathered together, could not hold them both. And thou didst give Behemoth one of the parts which had been dried up on the third day, to live in it, where there are 1,000 mountains. Man, there's a lot of speculation where that is. But to Leviathan thou didst give the seventh part, the watery part, and thou hast kept them to be eaten by whom thou wilt, and when thou wilt. On the sixth day thou didst command the earth to bring forth before thee cattle, beasts, and creeping things. And over these thou didst place Adam as ruler over all the works which thou hast made, and from him we have all come, the people thou hast chosen. So just another creation account. Here's we read this earlier in the Revelation stream, but here we go. 2 Esdras 16:54-62. Behold, Yahuah knows all the works of men, their imaginations and their thoughts of their heart. He said, let the earth be made, and it was made. Let the heaven be made, and it was made. At his word, the stars were fixed, and he knows the number of the stars. It is he who searches the deep and its treasures, who has measured the sea and its contents, who has enclosed the sea in the midst of the waters, and enclosed the sea in the midst of the waters, and by his word has suspended the earth over the water. Again, if you still believe, I'm not getting on you, but maybe you're new and haven't fully, woken up yet. If you still believe that we're living on a globe spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, hurling through space at 66,000 miles an hour, that's not what the word is saying here at all. So that's something I would look into. Look up Rob Skiba, the Genesis Revelation. You'll be amazed. Who has spread out the heaven, right, the firmament like an arch, and founded it upon the waters, who has put springs of water in the desert and pools on the tops of the mountains, to send rivers from the heights to water the earth, who formed man and put a heart in the midst of his body and gave him breath and life and understanding, and the spirit of El Shaddai, who made all things and searches out hidden things in hidden places. Hallelujah. Let's look at one more creation account. This is Jubilees chapter 2. We'll read verses 1 through 25. Give me a second, actually. And the angel of the presence spoke to Moshe according to the word of Yahuwah, saying, write the complete history of the creation, how in 6 days Yahuah Elohiym finished all his works and all that he had created, and kept Shabbat on the 7th day, and sanctified it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. And this is something that we talked about recently. This is simply how we count the Shabbat. 6 days of work, 7th day of rest. That's it. That's all we get. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the ruachot, spirits, which would serve him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the ruach of fire, and the angels of the ruach of the winds, and the angels of the ruach of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and the angels of the ruachot of cold and heat, and winter and spring and autumn and summer, and all the ruachot of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses and the darkness, evening and night, and the light and dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon we saw his works and praised him. And this is, honestly, this is what this Torah portion is all about, is this right here. And whereupon we saw his works and praised him, and lauded him before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. And on the second day he created the firmament. This is just one thing I just disagree with, the Sefer translation instead of expanse. The Hebrew word is rakia, which we'll look at that in a second. He created the firmament in the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below of the firmament that was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work Elohim created on the second day. So this firmament is so massive that that's the only thing he did on the second day. And so what is it saying here? That it was just all water, and this firmament created a separation from heaven and earth, and it was formed out of the waters. Here, this is the best representation of what I understand. That there's waters above here, and there's waters down below here. And he created this firmament, which we'll look up the Hebrew word for firmament shortly, and we'll talk about it. But this is more than likely closer to what it looks like than the blue marble that we get from NASA. And on the third day he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside the firmament, and the dry land appeared. And on that day he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and all the gatherings of the waters in the mountains, and in all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of the wood, in the garden of Eden, in Eden, and all. So here you can see with the different books we get a little different take of the creation account. Here it's more specific. It makes you think a little more. I mean, he created every single river, every single creek, every single brook, every single lake that wasn't man-made, of course. It's mind-boggling of what he's created for us, and we should be on our knees, should be on our faces, praising the works of his hands. It's just absolutely, I'm beside myself. These 4 great works Elohim created on the third day. And on the fourth day, he created the sun and the moon and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days, and for Sabbaths, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Sabbaths of years, and for jubilees, and all seasons of the years. So here specifically it tells us, so while we're here, it says specifically the sun is for the Sabbaths. So the cool thing is, I'm not going to argue with you. If your sunrise to sunrise or your sunset to sunset, you need the sun to calculate your Sabbath, not the moon. And it divides the light from the darkness, and for prosperity, that all things may prosper which shoot and grow on the earth. These three kinds he made on the fourth day. And on the fifth day he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters, for these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands, the fish and everything that moves in the waters, and everything that flies, the birds and all their kind. And the sun rose above them to prosper them, and above everything that was on the earth, everything that shoots out of the earth, and all fruit-bearing trees, and all flesh. These three kinds he created on the fifth day. And on the sixth day he created all the animals of the earth, and all cattle, and everything that moves on the earth, and all this he created. And after all this he created man and a woman, he created he them, and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth, and in the seas, and over everything that flies, and over the beasts, and over the cattle, and over everything that moves on the earth, and over the whole earth, and over all this he gave dominion. And these four kinds he created on the sixth day. And there were altogether 22 kinds, and he finished all his work on the sixth day, all that is in the heavens and on the earth, and in the seas, and in the abysses, and in the light, and in the darkness, and in everything. And he gave us a great sign, the Sabbath, that we should work 6 days, but guard the Sabbath on the seventh day. Shabbat Shalom, by the way. From all his work. And all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification, these two great classes, he has bidden us to guard the Sabbath with him in heaven and on earth. So how amazing that right now they're Shabbating, right? Angels are Shabbating, Yahuah is Shabbating, we're Shabbating. And he said to us, Behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples, and these shall guard the Sabbath, and I will sanctify them unto myself as my people, and will bless them as I have sanctified the Sabbath, and do sanctify it unto myself. Even so will I bless them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. Like, literally, brothers and sisters, the Sabbath is so important. Like, if there's like an official document, like imagine the Torah of Yahuah. I believe that Sabbath is the seal. That is the seal that makes it right. There's just something special about this day. And I have chosen the seed of Yaakov from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I will teach them the Sabbath, that they may guard the Sabbath thereon from all work. And thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should guard the Sabbath with us on the seventh day. To what? To eat and to drink and to bless him who has created all things, as he has blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples, and that they should guard the Sabbath together with us. And he caused his commands to ascend as a sweet savor, acceptable before him all the days. And there were 22 heads of mankind from Adam to Yaakov, and 22 kinds of work were made until the seventh day. This is blessed and holy, and the former also is blessed and holy, and this one serves with that one for sanctification and blessing. And to this Yaakov and his seed it was granted that they should always be the blessed and kodashim of the first testimony and Torah, even as he has sanctified and blessed the Sabbath on the seventh day. Wow. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's take a look at a couple things. So we see here that on the first day, he said, let there be light, and there was light. Now, what's interesting about this is the sun and the moon and the stars were not created until day 4. So what is this light that he created on the first day? Let's let the scriptures define scriptures. Proverbs 6:23, for the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light. Psalm 19:8, the statutes of Yahuah are right, rejoice in the heart. The commandment of Yahuah is pure, enlightening or giving light to the eyes. Psalm 119:105, thy word, this could be his Torah or his whole word, is a lamp or a light unto my feet, and lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Isaiah 8:20, to the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So, right, so what we're saying is if the Torah is not within them, there is no light in them. So, what do I think he created on the first day? His righteous rules, his judgments, his mercies, his statutes, his ordinances, everything. That's just where I'm at. And it's It's what makes sense to me, especially because some people would say that Yahusha is the true light, but I'm here to say that Yahusha created all this because, we'll read it here in a second, but we'll read it here. Well, actually, maybe we can read it again. It's no big deal. John 1:1-3, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. The same was in the beginning with Elohim. I believe this is saying that Yahusha is the Word, is the Son. The Son was with the Father from the very beginning. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. So nothing was made without Yahusha. So if Yahusha made the light, I don't think this is talking about Him being made. I believe that He was with the Father from the very beginning and that He made this. It's all glory to Yahuah, but Yahuah, it was His command. He sent His word to go make these things. One more thing on the light. 2 Ezra 14:20-22. For behold, I will go as thou hast commanded me, and I will reprove the people who are now living. But who will warn those who will be born hereafter? For the world lies in darkness, and its inhabitants are without light. Why? For thy Torah has been burnt, and so no one knows the things which have been done or will be done by you. And if I have found favor before you, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I will write everything that has happened in the world from the beginning, the things which are written in thy Torah. And so he says, since the beginning, this is what we're starting with tonight, the very beginning. The things that which were written that in your Torah, that men may be able to find the path, and that those who wish to live in the last days may live. Praise Yah for Ezra's heart and his desire to rewrite all the scriptures that were burnt. So let's take a look at firmament. And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And so the Hebrew word is rakia, and it's always translated as firmament, and some of the biblical usage is extended surface, solid, expanse, firmament, expanse, flat as a base, support, firmament, a vault of heaven supporting the waters above. And so science won't tell you that there's water above. That's why if you ever look at those, like if you've ever seen the best thing that's ever happened to biblical cosmology is the word, of course, but as far as in these recent days, the P900, the Nikon P900 and the Nikon P1000, I mean, you can zoom in on stars like we've never have before, and you can see clearly that there's a layer of water. That you can see the waves of the water above the firmament. It's just absolutely amazing. So considered by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above. That does not happen according to the heliocentric solar system that most of us were taught from a very young age. So if you still believe in that, I would implore you to seek out Torah, because Torah is His creation account. Torah is flat earth. Well, now my video is flagged, of course, but whatever. Torah is biblical cosmology, and I've had people over the years. I've been talking about FE since 2015. People are like, "Just stop talking about it. Stop focusing on it." No, this is Torah. This is what has brought thousands of people to His righteous commandments, to His righteous Torah, to believing in Messiah Yahusha. And so this is the kind of stuff that we need to stand stiffly for. When we talk about walking in Torah, this is walking in Torah, talking about the truth of His creation. And Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. How does that work? Peter talked about it. Peter knew, 2 Peter 3:3-5, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts. So they're not walking after Yah's ways. They're all walking after their own lusts, saying, where's the promise of His coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, but that by the word of Elohim, so Peter knew that it was the word that created these things, that by the word of Elohim the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. That doesn't happen on a ball spinning through endless expanding space. It doesn't happen. Let's skip down a little bit, and so talking about just the amazement of his creation. Again, I mean, all you have to do is step outside, wherever you live. Even if you live out in the desert of Arizona, I can assure you that there's mountains, or there's plateaus, or there's just something just amazing of his work. No matter what, I've traveled very widely across this country, even the world, but widely across this country. I've seen most of the states here, and even Kansas. I think even Kansas is beautiful with the flat plains and seeing all the farmland. I think there's beauty in that too. There really is. But no matter where you are, I think you can find beauty all around you. All you have to do is step outside of your house and look around. Even just look up at the firmament. Maybe at nighttime. What does the heart of David say? The heavens declare the glory of Yah, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night shows knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard, and their words have gone into the end of the world. Listen, his stars, the firmament, the stars, the lights, the moon, unfortunately, people have gone astray and have worshipped the creation rather than the creator, and that's certainly what I'm not implying here. But when we look up at the sun, the moon, the stars, we should worship Yahuah, who has created all these wonderful things for the service of man. I think I found beauty in all of his creation. I'm just still having a hard time with spiders. I look at them and I'm like, wow, that's creepy, But I'm trying. Snakes too. Spiders and snakes. It's like I don't see it. But I'm gonna have faith and trust him that that's what had to be done, right? It had to be done. But even just trying to find beauty in spiders, just look at the diversity that they have and the different sizes and different color. It's just unbelievable. I'm not big into reptiles, but my son loves, he's got geckos and chameleons and stuff, and they're cool to look at. They really are. And just how amazing our Father is to be able to do all these things. Just grass, the way grass works. Think about this for a second. I was speaking to Carl Tishner, and Yah's given that man a lot of wisdom. And he was just talking about the simplicity of things. Look at the cow. Look at it's a 1,000-pound plus animal, and he's sustained off of grass. What? How does that even work? And that grass that goes into that cow's body supplies all this milk and all this meat. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. One thing while we're here, again, I don't mean to be contentious, but this is like I don't want to be contentious or argumentative, but I've seen both sides of the, evening to evening or morning to morning debate. And, at the end of the day, this is the very first page of Scripture. He tells us how to count a day. And I've seen all different things. And even some of my best friends are like, Adam, well, it's because, it doesn't say it, but imagine this and this. And I get it, and I love you. But it says the evening and the morning was a day. Night and then day equals a day. That's how I count. Now you're probably like, oh no, Adam, you gotta look at the account of Mary and the tomb, and then it says the next day was more. I get it. I totally get it. I've seen the arguments. He says it right here. This is Torah, and it says evening and morning was a day, and that's where I'm sticking. Another thing, Genesis 1:14. It says, and Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them, so plural, let the sun and the moon be for signs and for appointed feasts, moedim. So he's telling us right here that the sun and the moon are used to calculate. And those of you that I love very much, and you're on a calendar that doesn't use the moon to set the feast days, I'd ask you to just take another look at Genesis 1:14. It's very clear. Let them, let them, both sun and moon, be for what? Signs and for appointed feasts. So just consider that for those that calculate feast days without the moon. Just consider that, please. So here's the first commandment given to man, even before don't eat of the tree. it says, Elohim blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, right? So go out and have children, right? Multiply yourselves. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have children. I know some of you can't have children. Some of you are single, and some of you, don't even have that desire. And I get it. I'm just saying that this is a command. Be fruitful, multiply yourselves. And one last thing here on chapter 1, and we'll move on. And it says, and Elohim said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for food. So, there's a lot of people, it's usually more in the older generations, that demonize things like the CBD plants or the cannabis plant. And I'm here to say that I believe that what's really evil is the pharmacy, the medical system, with their synthesized drugs and their vaccinations and their medicine, which some of it is derived from plant-based stuff, but most of it is chemicals and synthesized, and quite frankly, it's like I don't know. It's like the same stuff they did in before the flood, with the mixing of DNA and now you got stem cells and all this ridiculousness. I'm here to say that I believe that I would much rather see somebody be healed with cannabis rather than something that man peddles, that doctors peddle. That's quite frankly a sorcery. People demonize like cannabis as sorcery, but Yahuah made that, right? People call the devil's lettuce. The devil can't create. He can't create plants. He doesn't have that ability. He's not creator. He wants to be Elohim, but he's not. Elohim made that. So people that condemn that, you're condemning right here. Genesis, you're condemning Torah. Am I sitting here advocating everybody to go, I'm just saying for people that want to seek medicines of the earth, that's Torah. To me, that's Torah. That's standing for Torah. I'm here to say that Yahuah made that plant and many other plants like it for the service of man. Can you abuse things? Of course you can abuse things that he has made. You can abuse food. And look what happens to our bodies when you abuse food, when you become obese. Your life expectancy dwindles. You have other problems. It's hard to move. You're tired. You don't want to do anything. Okay? You can abuse other things too. You can abuse wine. That's from the fruit of the ground, or from the vine plant. You can abuse that. You can abuse cannabis. You can abuse a multitude of things. But to condemn something that Yahuah has made and calling it evil, that which he has made that is good, which he says, he has called everything that he made was good, right? Right here, verse 31, and Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. So woe to those who call evil what Yahuah has called good. So just be careful for those of you that don't understand these kind of things yet. This is Torah. This is standing for Torah. All right. Let's move on to chapter 2. So we'll go ahead and listen to the chapter 2, and then we'll talk about it.
Bereshiyth, Genesis, chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahuah Elohim made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for Yahuah Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahuah Elohim formed the man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man became a living soul. And And Yahuah Elohiym planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahuah Elohiym to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pishon, that is, which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. There is Delim, and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goes toward the east of Ashur. And the fourth river is Perath. And Yahuah Elohiym took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to guard it. And Yahuah Elohiym commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die. And Yahuah Elohiym said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. And out of the ground Yahuah Elohiym formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto the man to see what he would call them. And whatsoever the man called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And the man gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found an helpmeet for him. And Yahuah Elohiym caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahuah Elohiym had taken from the man made he a woman, and he brought her unto the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his woman, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his woman, and were not ashamed.
Whew. Good stuff here. Wow. So much to talk about in this chapter too. I just think this part is just so amazing. You know, just bringing out the woman out of the man. It's just why he chose to do it that way. It's just, you know, man. Anyways, so let's talk about a couple things. So let's go back here. The 7th day Elohim rests. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and the host of them. And on the 7th day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. And so this is what we get in the creation account. We have Yahuwah taking a Shabbat, taking a rest. And that's what's just so special about doing the Shabbat with him, is that this is the very first pages of Torah, you know. This is Torah, you know, this Shabbat, you know, way before it was declared to the children of Israel. And, you know, I know a lot of you out there are lunar Sabbatarians, and I love you very much. And I know I offended many of you with my video out there, but I'm still glad that you're here, and we can still fellowship together. This is one of the main points for me is, you know, I see him counting to 6 and then resting on the 7th day. But we'll leave that alone, because I know that it's a sore subject for some people. So forgive me. I just, you know, while we're here, I just wanted to mention it. So much love to you. Regardless, I'm just, like I said when I did that study, I am beside myself that there's tens of thousands, if not maybe even hundreds of thousands of people that are waking up that even want to keep Shabbat, because the majority of people kick against keeping Shabbat. They're like, well, you know, Jesus is my Sabbath, you know, and whatever else they may say. So anyways, let's keep going. So, you know, what's really interesting about, let's see. There's so much we can cover here, but just so that this is in a reasonable time, I wanted to point out something interesting that, you know, atheists will poke at this creation story, and they'll say, well, you know, he made them male and female here, but now here's Adam saying that there is not a helpmeet for him, But in chapter 1, it said that he made them male and female. So they're like, well, what is it? Did he make male and female on the sixth day, or did he not? Right? And so anyways, it brings me to something that we found out just recently. I want to read this for you. This is Enoch 85, and this is the dream visions of Enoch. And what this is leading to is something really interesting. Let's see. So this is where Enoch dreams the entire history of man told in a parable using animals as symbols. And so let's look at it. Before I took thy mother Edna, I saw in a vision on my bed, and behold, a bull came forth from the earth. This is Adam. And that bull was white. And after it came forth a heifer, and along with this came forth two bulls. So this is Cain and Abel. But here, R.H. Charles puts a little note here saying the latter heifer. So indicating that there's two heifers. Here, let me keep reading because he alludes to it here. But I'm going to read you the Sefer version because there's different manuscripts of Enoch, and there's something really interesting about this. Basically, what I'm getting at is, at first I rejected the Lilith doctrine, but I believe on further examination using the book of Enoch, I believe that that Adam was made and Lilith was made first, and she rebelled against subjecting herself unto Adam, and so then that's where we find Adam was without a helpmeet, and then Eve was formed. So it says right here the latter, and so I believe it was Adam, Lilith, and then Eve. And after it came forth a heifer, and along with this latter heifer came forth two bulls, and one of them black and the other red. And that black bull gored the red one and pursued him over the earth. And thereupon I no longer could see that red bull. But that black bull grew, and that heifer went out with him. And I think this is saying that Lilith went with like Cain or something like that. Anyways, we'll talk more about that later. And I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, that which resembled him followed him. And that cow, that first one, went from the presence of that first bull in order to seek that red one, but found him not, so he couldn't find Abel, and lamented with a great lamentation over him and sought him. And I looked till that first bull came to her and quieted her, and from that time onward she cried no more. Okay, well, maybe not. All right, so take a look at the Sefer version. Here's Enoch 85. And behold, a cow, so instead of a bull, behold, a cow sprung forth from the earth, and this cow was white. That's Adam. And afterwards, a female heifer sprung forth, and with it, another heifer. That's two females. So you have Adam, and you have two females that were sprung forth at creation. So this might, and this is a study that I'm going to do another time about this story, because again, a lot of atheists try to poke fun at the creation account because they're like, was there a woman created with man at the beginning? Was there not? She came later. So anyways, so here, let's just read it. So, and afterwards a female heifer sprung forth, and with it another heifer. So this is two heifers. Heifer is a female cow. The one was black and the one was red, and the black heifer struck the red one and pursued it over the earth. From that period I could see nothing more of the red heifer, but the black one increased in bulk, and a female heifer came with him. And after that I saw many cows proceed forth, resembling him and following after him. The first female young one also went out of the presence of the first cow and sought the red heifer, but found him not, and she lamented with a great lamentation while she was seeking him. Then I looked until that first cow came to her, from which she became silent and ceased to lament. And afterwards she calved another cow, and again calved many cows and black heifers. Anyways, so yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. That's not really a rabbit trail I want to keep going down there tonight, but I thought that was interesting because I think that may shed a little bit of light of maybe the confusion, of, a female was created with Adam at the beginning, but, she wasn't a helpmeet. She did her own thing. And so therefore he took and created Eve out of, Adam's rib. So she came out of him rather than creating. So what I'm postulating is this is just speculation here. There's not a whole lot to go off of. I researched this, but there's not a lot of scripture to go off of. It's a lot of legends and all these kind of things. So it's kind of, all over the place. But what I'm kind of, I guess, hypothesizing based off of the little bit of information from Enoch is that he created Adam and he created Lilith, but he didn't create Lilith coming out of Adam. So she didn't want to submit herself to him. She didn't want to join herself with him. She didn't want to hearken to him. And so therefore she was not a helpmeet. And so then that's when he caused Adam to sleep and then said, okay, I'll take woman out of man, right? And so anyways, that's just my hypothesis. I could be totally wrong about that. I could be totally way off base. But again, I treat this as like if we were sitting together in my living room studying the scriptures, this is how I'm talking about it, not in like a teaching aspect, but kind of in like a, hey, what do you think about this? This is where my studies have led me. Just something interesting to take a look at. So, we're going to go over chapter 3, and then there's some things that I kind of want to just talk about in general, and we'll probably finish up for tonight. So let's go chapter 3.
Bereshiyth, Genesis, chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, as Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For Elohim knows that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as Elohim, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her man with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahuah Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his woman hid themselves from the presence of Yahuah Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahuah Elohim called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, The woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And Yahuah Elohim said unto the woman, What is this that you have done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahuah Elohim said unto the serpent, Because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your man, and he shall rule over you. And unto Adam he said, Because you have hearkened unto the voice of your woman, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns also, and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and ye shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread, till you return unto the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and unto dust you shall return. And unto Adam called his woman's name Yahuah, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his woman did Elohim make coats of skins, and clothe them. And Yahuah Elohim said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. Therefore, Yahuah Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way of the tree of life.
There's the fall. There's the fall of man. It's interesting, right? So as soon as Yahuwah was like, "What have you done?" He's like, "The woman," right? Oh man. So let's read a parallel account, and then we'll kind of go through Genesis 3. We'll kind of pick it apart. But let's. I like comparing Jasher and Jubilees. Is really interesting comparing these accounts. So here's Jasher, chapter 1. We'll read verses 1 through 10. And Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And Elohim created man in his own image. And Elohim formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul endowed with speech. And Yahuwah said, It is not good for man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet. And Yahuwah caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took away one of his ribs, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam woke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, This is bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man. And Adam called her name Eve, for she was the mother of all living. And Elohim blessed them and called their names Adam and Eve in the day that he created them. And Yahuwah said, Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Again, this is the first commandment. And Yahuah Elohim took Adam and his wife, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. That's our first job. That's our first occupation, right? Is trimming bushes. Right? It's our first job. And he commanded them and said unto them, From every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat thereof you shall surely die. And when Elohim had blessed and commanded them, he went from them, and Adam and his wife dwelt in the garden according to the command which Yahuwah had commanded them. And the serpent which Elohim had created with them in the earth came to them to incite them to transgress the command of Elohim which he commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge, and the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent. And we see this all throughout the Torah, that we are to hearken to the voice of Yahuwah, which equates to keeping his Torah, keeping his commandments. So instead, they hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of Elohim. So the book of Jasher makes it clear that who was in the garden walking in the cool of the day? It was the word of Yahuwah, the word of Elohim. And this is a concept that I think I'd like to point out more as we go through this Torah portion, that, this dichotomy of, the children of Israel, were they married to the father, but now they're married to the son, or how does this work? I'm here to say that I believe that the word of Yahuwah has always been Yahusha, our Messiah, and that he was, as we read earlier, that he was the one that created all things. It was the word, Yahuwah sent forth his word to do the work, and it was created. I believe it was Yahusha all from the beginning, that he formed Adam out of the dust of the ground. He took the rib out of him and formed Eve, that he was walking in the cool of the day, saying to Adam, Where art thou? All of it. I believe that he was in the burning bush. I believe he was that commander of the army of Elohim that Joshua bowed down before. All of it. I believe he was the pillar of the cloud. He was the fire by night. I believe he was the one on top of Mount Sinai, with Moshe. So anyways, that's just, we're gonna point that out as much as we can during this Torah portion cycle, pointing out, basically Yahusha all over this. So here's Jubilees, chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 15. And in the first week of the first Jubilee, Adam and his wife were in the Garden of Eden for 7 years, tilling and keeping it. And we gave him work, and we instructed him to do everything that is suitable for tillage. And he tilled the garden, and was naked, and knew it not, and was not ashamed. And he protected the garden from the birds and the beasts and the cattle, and gathered its fruit, and eat, and put aside the residue for himself and for his wife, and put aside that which was being kept. And after the completion of the 7 years which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, and in the second month, On the 17th day of the month, which I believe this is the same time that Noah's flood started, or that was maybe the day they went into the ark, I can't remember. The serpent came and approached the woman, and the serpent said to the woman, "Hath Elohim commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden?" And she said to it, "Of all the fruit of the trees of the garden of Elohim hath said unto us, Eat. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said unto us, Ye shall not eat thereof, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For Elohim doth know that on the day that you eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as Elohim, and you will know good and evil. The woman saw that the tree, that it was agreeable and pleasant to the eye, and that its fruit was good for food, and she took thereof and ate. And when she had first covered her shame with fig leaves, she gave thereof to Adam, and he ate, and his eyes were opened, and he saw that he was naked. And he took fig leaves and sewed them together, and made an apron for himself, and covered his shame. And Elohim cursed the serpent, and was wroth with it forever. And he was wroth with the woman, because she hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and did eat. And he said unto her, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your pains. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and thy return shall be to thy husband, and he will rule over you. And this is something that is, still is a hard concept for a lot of sisters to comprehend, that this is Torah, that and this in for a man to rule over a woman shouldn't be like iron fist. I'm the man of the house, and what I say goes. And that's not what he's talking about here. But the man should be the covering, should be the head, should be the chief of your tribe, of your household. I think a man and woman work together. I believe it's a partnership, but ultimately there has to be an authority. Because somebody will be, if the man is not the authority and doesn't assume it, then the woman's going to assume it. And there's scripture all over the place where Yahuah condemns when the woman rules over the man. And, we're living in a day and age where, Satan has flipped everything upside down. What Yahuah calls good, he's flipped it up and called it evil. And, this is a tough subject, because this is the world we've been brought into, but this is clearly what the word, and this isn't just in Jubilees. It's also written in Genesis that the man will rule over the woman, and I think feminism is a big problem, even still within the Torah communities. I've heard from my brethren that their wives are with them in Torah, but they're still not submitting to their husband. They're still trying to be the head and still trying to be the authority and making all decisions. And it's just something that you sisters really got to pray over. And you men, you need to be men, because sometimes your women might be trying to take hold because you're not being a man, and you need to take charge. You need to be the spiritual household head of your household. You need to pray for your family. You need to pray over your family. You need to read scripture for your family. You need to. You're the priest essentially of your home. I'm, in a sense, like you are the. I guess that's the best way to say it. You're like the priest of the home. You are the head of the home. And so maybe if you have some issues with this, maybe your wife is trying to be domineering because maybe you're not being a man. And that's another thing, that's going on in this world is Satan has masculinized women and has feminized men. And some of you men may still have traces of that somehow. And that's something that, you need to take personally to Yahuah. Maybe it's something you struggle with. Maybe you grew up in a house without your father, and so you never had that, that kind of upbringing. Yahuah will meet you where you're at, but you've got to want to change. You got to want to grow. You can't just be like, change me. You got to do something about it. You got to thirst for it. You got to ask him for it. You got to want it. You got to, yeah. Anyways, I don't want to get off this on the soapbox, but this is an issue. Feminism is an issue, even still in the Torah communities. And to Adam also he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying that you should not eat thereof, cursed be the ground for thy sake. Thorns and thistles shall I bring forth to you, and thou shalt eat thy bread in the sweat of thy face, till thou returnest to the earth from whence thou wast taken. For earth thou art, and unto earth thou shalt return. Let me tell you something. This is something that some of you have also kind of found out, that this right here, this is a commandment. This is after the fall. This is a commandment. And you shall eat your bread in the sweat of your face. You shall. You shall. So I know a lot of us are far removed from an agricultural lifestyle, but, start somewhere. And when you start learning how to grow your own food and cultivating your own food, I'm no expert by any means, and I'm no farmer by any means, but even on the small scale I did last year, this last, I'd say, whatever, maybe 15, maybe 20% of my food came from my garden, and that was very fulfilling. And yes, there was times where I'm out there sweating, harvesting or pulling weeds or something. But let me tell you something. There's something very satisfying about eating out of the sweat, eating your bread in the sweat of your face. There's something supernatural about it, that you just know that you're doing the right thing. And so I challenge some of you, and again, some of you may even just live in apartments. Fine, get some pots and put some potting soil in there and plant something and eat it. There's something about growing your own food and eating it that is just. It comes from Torah. It's part of Torah. How about that? Right? This is Torah. Torah isn't just keep the Sabbath and keep the holy days and do this and don't do that. Torah. This is a do that. This is a eat bread out of the sweat of your face. Start somewhere. Again, I'm not being high and mighty here. Like, oh, look at me. I'm a farmer now, and I, grow all my food. I'm not saying that, but I want to work towards that. I do. I really do. I really want to work towards. I really want to work towards not having to rely on supermarkets, and only Elohim knows where that food came from. I want to grow that with the seed of the ground that He's given us to do and to cultivate. And it's very rewarding. So I look forward again to this next growing season, because it's over. Everything's dying in the garden. Here we go. Listen to this. Verse 28, and on that day was closed the mouth of all beasts and cattle and of birds and of all whatever walks and of whatever moves, so that they could no longer speak, because surely the serpent spoke to Eve, and nobody has a problem with that. The snake spoke, but none of the other animals can speak. Yeah, right. All the animals spoke, and it says right here, they all had, right? It says, for they all had spoken one with another, with one lip and with one tongue. Can you imagine that? I want to talk to a lion. I want to talk to a bear. What an amazing thing that would be. And that ties into what Yahusha says in, where is it? What does he say? It's Mark 16. Here we go. Mark 16:15, and he said unto them, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every man, woman, child? No, creature. Because what I'm saying here is, even though their mouth was closed and they can't talk anymore, because we saw the same thing with Balaam and his donkey. It said that he opened back up the mouth of the donkey so that the donkey could speak, but he didn't say he closed their ears from being able to hear. So animals understand you, even like wild animals that are afraid of you, whatever. They can still understand you in some way. They just can't speak back, right? So that it doesn't always work. Like, so if you meet a bear in the woods and you're like, hey, I don't want to die today, so can you just turn around and obviously they're not like that, but in a sense they can understand what you're saying. And so why don't you just preach the gospel to every creature? I'm trying to. So, all right, that's enough of that. And what else did I want to talk about here? So we know that wisdom is good and understanding is good, but we also know there's the Hasatan has his own enticement of knowledge, and we know that it has become the foolishness of this world. Like the education system of this world has become foolishness. They literally just teach foolishness, and it's literally you spend money to memorize their foolishness. That's as simple as it gets. That's as simple as what the education system is. You go, you can't question what they tell you, especially at the higher levels. You just completely get ostracized if you question their narrative of evolution and astrophysics and quantum physics and all the theories, the relativity and gravity and space and dimensions and galaxy. I mean, this is all foolishness. It is complete foolishness. But that's the kind of wisdom that Satan is offering, and people are eating it up, and they love it. They wouldn't have it any other way. Let's see what else. Gosh, there's so much I really want to tie into the book of First Adam and Eve, but man, it would take us hours. If you haven't seen it, there's a playlist where Justin and I go through the entire book of First Adam and Eve. It's just amazing. If you want to hear what the experience was like for the first people on Earth, the trials and the numerous temptations that Satan came back to them and kept tempting them with, and it's such a good story. And of course, Genesis 3:15, this is a big one. And I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed, and it shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. And so, some people will equate that to, Yahusha and his heel being bruised, but he eventually crushes the head of the serpent. He was crucified on Calvary or Golgotha with a place of his skull. There's a lot of interesting things there. You can search more into that. It's pretty neat. And of course, verse 16. You women, boy, I'm sorry. It's rough. I've seen 5 births, and boy, they're rough. So, but I don't know what to say about that, man. It's just some tough stuff. But the good news is it's apparently what's coming next. You will not bear in sorrow anymore. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about some stuff in general about the creation story. Let's talk about this. So think about, when you're in the world and you're sharing people the glory of what Elohim has done for you. Let's take this into consideration. Let's talk about the story of Jonah. When's the last time you read the book of Jonah, right? I'm guilty. I'll go through the 12 minor prophets and I'll be like, I know the story of Jonah. It's 4 chapters. I'll just keep going. But listen to this. Now the word of Yahuah came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee into Tarshish from the presence of Yahuah, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahuah. But Yahuah sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. Then the mariners were afraid, and cried every man unto his Elohim, and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them. But Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast asleep. This reminds me of Yahusha, right? Remember when he and the disciples were on the boat, and they were like, Adonai, we perish. And you're sleeping, right? And so Jonah's the same thing. And let me tell you something. If you've never been out to sea in a storm, it is frightening. I mean, you're very helpless. I mean, you think about the vastness of the sea around you, and if the ship were to break, it's over. It's over with. You're done, And just the poundings and it's like it's pretty scary. I was on a Navy ship for a couple months, and we went through some pretty crazy storms, and it was nerve-wracking. And so just to kind of set the stage here real quick, there's an old saying that there's no atheists when a ship is at sea in a storm. There's no atheists. I'm butchering that saying, but that's what it's. So the shipmaster came to him and said to him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy Elohim, if so that be Elohim will think upon us that we perish not. And they said every one to his fellow, Come, let us cast lots, that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us. So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah. And they said unto him, Tell us, we pray thee, for what cause is this evil upon us? What is thine occupation, and where comest thou? What is your country, and what of people are you? And this is what Jonah said to him. This is his reply. He said to them, I am a Hebrew, and I fear Yahuah, the Elohim of heaven, which has made the sea and the dry land. So he just acknowledged that he serves the Creator who created heaven and earth, or created the land and the sea in this case. Then the men were exceedingly afraid and said to him, Why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he had fled from the presence of Yahuah because he had told them. So, how often in our and I'm talking to myself big time too. I'm totally convicted about this thought process. How often am I declaring that I'm serving the Elohim that made heaven, made earth, made everything that's within it. And that's actually a big shocker in these last days, because I don't even know what the average the consensus would be, but I'd have to imagine maybe 50, 60, 70, maybe 80% of the population at this point believes in some form of evolution, part of science, or falsely so called. So that would be a big zinger if someone's like, okay, your God created heaven and earth, right? But why aren't we standing for that? That's a good question. I'm asking myself, because I don't say this enough. Psalm 95, O come, let us sing unto Yahuah. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms. For Yahuah is a great Elohim, and a great king above all Elohim. In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, and he made it. So this is tying in praise into acknowledging his creation account. And his hands have formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Yahuah, our Maker, for he is our Elohim, and we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. Today, if you will hear his voice, right? Opposite of, hearkening to the voice of the serpent. Harden not your heart, as in the provocation, as in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work. 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, It is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways, unto whom I swear my wrath that they should not enter into my rest. But point being for this, obviously, is tying in, singing him praise, giving him glory for what? The works of his hand. Genesis 14:18-23, And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. He was the priest of the Most High Elohim. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High Elohim, possessor of heaven and earth. And he blessed the Most High Elohim, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand, and he gave him tithes of all. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto Yahuah, the Most High, the possessor of heaven and earth. And, this could certainly be equivalent to the creator of heaven and earth. And I will not take a thread of, or even to a shoe latchet, that I will not take anything that is thine, that lest thou should say, I have made Avram rich. Psalm 33, Rejoice in Yahuah, O ye righteous, for praise is comely for the upright. Praise Yahuah with the harp. Sing unto him with a psaltery and the instrument of 10 strings. Sing unto him a new song. Play skillfully with a loud noise. Why? For the word of Yahuah is right, and all his works are done in truth. He loveth righteousness and judgment. The earth is full of the goodness of Yahuah. And that's what really this whole Torah portion is about. By the word of Yahuah, so the psalmist is recognizing that it was the word of Yahuah. By the word of Yahuah were the heavens made, and all the hosts of them by the breath of his mouth. He gathered the waters of the sea together as in a heap. He layeth up the depth in storehouses. Let all the earth fear Yahuah. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spake, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Psalm 146, Praise ye Yahuah. Praise Yahuah. O my soul, while I live, I will praise Yahuah. I will sing praises unto my Elohim while I have any being. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. His breath goeth forth. He returneth to his earth. In that very day his thoughts perish. Happy is he that hath the Elohim of Yaakov for his help, whose hope is in Yahuah his Elohim, which made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that therein is, which keepeth the truth forever. So you can see here, once again, the psalmist David is equating praising and singing in praises with his creation account. Jeremiah 27:5. I have made the earth, the man, and the beasts that are upon the ground by my great power and my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me. Jeremiah 51:15. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding, as we saw in Ezra earlier, like an arch. So, as we read earlier, John 1:1-3, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. The same was in the beginning with Elohim. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything that was made, that was made. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, as we beheld his glory, the glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth, full of grace and Torah. Revelation 14:6-7, and I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Elohim, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. Book of Enoch, chapter 2-5. Observe ye everything that takes place in heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and their luminaries which are in heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last, how steadfast they are, and how none of the things upon the earth change, but all the works of Elohim appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, and how the whole earth is filled with water and clouds and dew and rain line upon it. We take this stuff for granted. We just had another season change. I mean, literally, it went from being 95 degrees here to like being like 35, 40 degrees at night. Just like that. And it happens every year, just like that. And the spring comes, and the life comes, and the plants bloom, and the grass starts growing again. Mowing season comes back. I mean, it just happens like that. You know, have you ever looked at the bare tree going through winter, and then in spring seeing the little sprigs coming through, and the little the leaves starting to come out, and then over time, if it's a fruit bearing tree, you know, and the fruit coming forth, or even like, you know, we got the acorns in the backyard and how they grow. It's unbelievable how much we take for granted of what he's done, making the 4 seasons, and how it's just amazing. Let's keep going. Chapter 3. Observe and see how in winter all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees, or evergreen trees, which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years until the new comes. And again, observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it, and you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat and of the sun, and the earth also burns with growing heat, and so that you cannot tread on the earth or on a rock by reason of its heat. Big difference from like winter or fall or spring, right? Summer, you literally can't walk on anything other than maybe grass and dirt because it's so hot. Chapter 5, observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth forever hath made them so. This, I keep saying there's multiple verses, this really is the heart of this Torah portion, is acknowledging his creation and acknowledging what he has done. And it's just, I know I'm repeating myself, but I have to admit, I don't hear it enough from other people, so I wonder if we've all kind of just taken for granted with what he's done. And I think this is a great opportunity to declare to people when they ask. You know, there's a section in Peter that says that we should all be ready to give an account for what is the hope that is within us if anybody asks. And I think we should incorporate that, you know, who we serve. We serve, what's different about you? Or what's up with you? Or like, you know, I serve the God of heaven and earth. He created the heavens and the earth and everything contained in it, you know. He's been really merciful to me. He's changed my life around. He's done this. He saved me from dying. He did miracles for me. Whatever. I mean, we all have different stories, but we're all supposed to tell the glory of Elohim. And so take some time, especially Shabbat, maybe before it gets too cold. For a lot of us that maybe, stay indoors a lot or work from home or whatever, try to get outside and just look around you and maybe take a moment and bless him and praise him and thank you and say, Abba, thank you. Thank you for making all this. I know the world is full of iniquity and lawlessness and whatnot, but still the work of his hand still stands, Look at your husband and your wife. Look at their eyes. And look at how beautiful they are, or how handsome he is, or how beautiful she is. Yahuah did that. And all his works go on thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks with which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as Elohim hath ordained it, so it is done. And behold how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks from his commandments. So the earth hearkens to what they were created to do. Here Enoch is rebuking us. For a lot of us, this is where we were. But you have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of Yahuah, but you have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied. This is for the unrepentant, of course. The years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration, and ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names an eternal execration unto all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse. And all the sinners and godless shall imprecate by you, and for you, the godless, there shall be a curse. And all the shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all of you sinners there shall be no salvation, but on you shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. And then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never sin again, either through ungodliness or through pride. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life. Nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of the days of their life, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. A couple more verses, and we got one more section we're going to finish up. Jeremiah 32:17. Yahuah Elohiנו, behold, thou hast made the heaven and the earth by thy great power and stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for you. Isaiah 46:3-13. He's talking to you. You are the house of Yaakov. You are Israel. Hearken unto me, O house of Yaakov, and all the remnant of the house of Israel, which are born by me from the belly, which are carried from the womb. And even to your old age I am he, and even to the hoar hairs will I carry you. This is the creator of heaven and earth speaking to you. I have made, and I will bear, even I will carry, and will deliver you. To whom will you liken me, and make me equal, and compare me, that we may be like? Now he's talking about idolaters. They lavish gold out of the bag, they will weigh silver in a balance, and hire a goldsmith, and he maketh it a god. They fall down, yea, they worship. They bear him upon the shoulder, they carry him, and set him in his place, and he standeth. From his place shall he not remove. Yea, one shall cry unto him, yet he shall not answer, nor save him out of his trouble. Remember this and show yourselves men, and bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. And this obviously goes for people that have idols in their hearts. Remember the former things of old, which is the creation account, what we're talking about. For I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Last chapter, and we're done for tonight. We'll pick back up with Genesis 4 Monday night at probably 8:30. I'll let you know if that changes. Enoch 104, I swear to you that in heaven the angels remember you for good before the glory of the Great One, and your names are written before the glory of the Great One. Be hopeful, for aforetime you were put to shame through ill and affliction, but now ye shall shine as the lights of heaven. Ye shall shine, and ye shall be seen, and the portals of heaven shall be opened to you. And in your cry for judgment, and it shall appear to you. For all your tribulation shall be visited on the rulers, and all who helped those who plundered you. Be hopeful, and cast not away your hopes, for ye shall have great joy as the angels of heaven. What shall be obliged to do? Ye shall not have to hide on the day of the great judgment, and ye shall not be found as the sinners, and the eternal judgment shall be far from you for all the generations of the world. And now, fear not, you righteous, when ye see the sinners growing strong and prospering in their ways. Boy, is that right now. Be not companions with them, but keep far from their violence, for ye shall become companions of the host of heaven. And although ye sinners say, all our sins shall not be searched out and written down, nevertheless they shall write down all your sins every day. And now I show you that light and darkness and day and night see all your sins. Be not godless in your hearts, and lie not and alter the words of uprightness, nor charge with lying words of the Holy Great One, nor take account of your idols, for all your lying and all your godlessness issue not in righteousness, but that in great sin. Now listen. And now I know this mystery, that sinners will alter and pervert the words of righteousness in many ways, and will speak wicked words and lie and practice great deceits and write books concerning their words. So this is what's being taught in schools. They have altered the truth of creation, and they have written down books concerning their words. But when they write down truthfully all my words in their languages, and do not change or diminish aught from my words, but write them all down truthfully, all that I testified concerning them, then I know another mystery, that books will be given to the righteous and the wise to become a cause of joy and uprightness and much wisdom. And to them shall the books be given, and they shall believe in them and rejoice over them. And then all the righteous who have learnt thereof, all from all the paths of uprightness, be recompensed. So, brothers and sisters, Torah is not just Shabbat and feast days and clean foods and, being good to your neighbor. Torah is biblical earth. Torah is the creation account. Torah is the herbs of the field that he made for our service. Torah is giving glory to the creator of heaven and earth that made this magnificent world. The creator of heaven and earth that formed you in the belly of your mother's womb. And if we have a lot more time than we think, and maybe some of you are, elderly out there right now, he's been with you all this time, even to your old age. This is what the creator of heaven and earth says. Even to your old age, I am he, and even to hoar hairs will I carry you. I have made, and I will bear, even I will carry, and I will deliver you. That's the Elohim we serve. So, brothers and sisters, what an amazing Torah portion. And again, this is only part 1. We'll finish up and do chapters 4, 5, and the couple verses in chapter 6. More than likely Monday night, 8:30 Central Standard Time. But I may change that, so just if you're wanting to be there live, just stay tuned. If not, you can just watch it as a recording. But a lot of interesting things to go over. Of course, we got the Cain and Abel story. We have the generations. And then probably what we'll spend the bulk of our time talking about is Genesis 6, which is the rebellion of the Watchers and the mating with women and the creating of the giants. And we'll probably be talking about that because that's such an important topic that has been absolutely obscured from being taught as truth. So let's bow our hearts and give praise unto Yahuwah. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah Most High, we just come before you, a group of people that are eager to learn your truth and to hearken to your voice like it hasn't been done in centuries. Abba, we want to glorify you. We want to sing you praises. We want to thank you for all this world that you've created for us, heaven and earth, the firmament, the sun, the moon, the stars, the fowl of the air, the fish in the sea, the beasts of the field, even the creeping things. All your hand has made all these things, all the herb of the field. We thank you for everything you've done for us, all the diverse flavors of food and everything. It's just absolutely amazing. And we pray that you put in our hearts to give you more praise for these, because we may take these things for granted. And please forgive us of our ignorance of these things, but put it within our hearts that we may praise you properly. And even if it's a feeble attempt, we pray that you bless us. And we certainly bless you, creator of heaven and earth, and through your word accomplishing all these things. But we love you. We thank you for the ability to gather like this together, and pray that you bless all my brothers and sisters that are here live or listening as a recording. I pray you bless my family as well, and that you strengthen us in these last days and prepare us to be ready, a ready people for the return of your Messiah, Yahusha. We love you, bless you, and send hallelujahs to you. Amen and amen. All right, brothers and sisters. Hey, may Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. And we'll do it in Hebrew. And I'll make a feeble attempt at singing it to you. Yevarechecha Yahuwah ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Yahuwah panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Yahuwah panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. Much love, brothers and sisters. Shabbat shalom to you. And if it's not too cold where you live tomorrow, maybe during Shabbat, maybe go outside and maybe praise Abba for his creation. But obviously that's your decision whether you want to do it or not. Just a friendly nudge. I know that I will. But you know what? Actually, before we leave, I want to read a prayer for you. Some of you may be familiar with this. No, we'll do it another time, actually. That's not the right time. Shabbat, it's hard for me to stop because I always like just hanging out with you guys. So Shabbat shalom to you, and we'll see you probably again Monday night, 8:30 Central. We'll finish this up. Shabbat shalom, brothers and sisters. Enjoy the rest that Yahuwah has given you.